Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pull the Chart. Today, we have a very fun topic. Well, for those of us that love a good conspiracy theory, we are looking at matters of national security. We're looking at the CIA's charts. My charts were already flagged when I sent them over to Patty.
Yes.
Got a little email of like, do you know who this is coming from? So, yeah, already registered with them. So we are going to start with the National Security Act of 1947 that was signed. So I will pull up the chart and then I just took a couple of quick notes about it and why it was formed. So here we go. President Truman signed it in to become this National Security Act, right? It's supposed to protect America's civil liberties, modernizing and unifying America's armed services. It's basically a restructuring bill, right? Putting everything under the Secretary of Defense, which, by the way, it was previously called the War Department. And then this is when it got changed to not being called the War Department, right? So it was um, Navy, they added the Air Force, and then you had the military. Like, all now we're going to be lumped together as one unit. This is the first peacetime intelligence agency. Let's just really highlight peacetime intelligence, dedicated to peacetime foreign intelligence apparatus. So everyone knows FBI is supposed to be domestic. CIA is supposed to be foreign intelligence, okay? So this is the National Security Act. When we look at, so this is a mundane chart. So we can read it for like its personality. It was a person, but then when you do mundane charts like corporations and countries, you look at things a little bit differently. So first thing when you look at this, you realize, look at all of those trines. The only square is to Chiron, which isn't a planet, it's an asteroid. I had to really go through this and go, okay, at least Venus would have squared the descendant and the ascendant. But normally, when you don't see a whole lot of squares and oppositions in a chart, things can flow very easily to them. Okay, so all the branches of our military right now are like under in this act. I'm just going to give you a little highlight of what some of these things mean. Okay, so Leo in a mundane chart usually has to do with entertainment, risk taking. What are the children doing? Joy and pleasure. And this becomes important when you analyze the chart. Libra is about the national art, fashion, like high end luxury, but partnerships, cooperation for peace and war. We're going to have to look at that Neptune. Characteristics to make friends and enemies. Then we go down here to Scorpio. Has to do with national taxes, our customs around death, researchers, recycling, transformation, loans, insurance, sewage, and waste. This is where all the yuck is. And your taxes. Swing around. We've got Taurus. Taurus would be your national finances, so your banking, your stock market. Also, like inviting the enemy to sit at the table with you. It can be art and food and extravagant luxury. Then we come on up here and we've got some Gemini action. This is your national media. Also your mail, mobile, network communications, the communication grids, but also our giving and receiving and exchanging of ideas. Okay. Cancer up here. National domestic life, real estate, food, security, and safety, and how we carry it out. Okay, so that just gives you like a little flavor of some of the main signs. And then some of the planets will mean a little bit differently that as we go through this. So immediately, what's the first thing that stands out to you in this chart? That just was like, oh.
Well, first of all, I want to tell everybody that Sharon said, she sent me this chart and said, guess what this is?
was like, mystery chart.
It is. And so, ugh. So I was like, oh, Pluto Saturn conjunction. That doesn't happen ever because they're outer planets. Well, Pluto, outer planet, moves very slowly. So I had to Google.
Yeah, for some years, right?
Right, right. When
Mhm.
so to answer your question,
Mhm.
that caught my eye first thing. First thing. So
And your first thought was what? First of all, this was funny. You were like, what were your thoughts? You were like, you thought of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
well, yes, and then you have to look at okay, then the sun is in Leo. So I have to go back to Leo time.
Hmm.
And so it was either obviously the CIA or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Also both great guesses.
Hmm.
But I thought, yeah, so anytime someone gives you a mystery chart, there's a way to figure it out. Usually you
Yeah.
start with the like farthest outer planet and work your way in.
Mhm.
So you should never, it's never a real mystery if you
No,
know
but it
your
was
astrology.
fun. It was fun. So it's a fun game to play. Throw a mystery chart at us. We'll figure you out.
I mean, it's using time, we can figure it out.
Mhm.
Let's start with the sun. Here we have the sun. The sun is usually the identity of like the company or the leaders, right? So here are the leaders. We have the president signs it in. The president also is, he's like, everybody rolls up into him anyways, right? So here you got the president. We don't have a direct exact signing time, so don't necessarily pay attention to the houses. Then we have, if you look at these two guys, let's just be honest, you have two malefics right together. Saturn is large scale tragedies, local law enforcement, national systems of discipline, um, reputation, elders, but also like national calamities and scarcities. Right. So it's like using it's like we naturally think of Saturn as fears, right? It can be our fears or hard work and discipline. So here you have a law enforcement, you have this idea of like using scarcity, but also large scale tragedy. And then you have it right friendly, holding hands with Pluto, which is should be our ability to like adapt and change, but it's also crime, nuclear grids and energy, the political underground, organized crime, wealth, like we're talking wealth, power, violence, mob psychology, debt and finances. So you have these like two yucky malefics together in the
Mhm.
sign of Leo, which is, entertainment, risk taking, right? This is, I mean, we dropped the nuclear bomb, right? I'm not surprised, right? Like when you look at that. So we have this. And here, by the way, they hang out on their own, right? So they're living their best little evil life together. You have another loner over here. Here we have Neptune, visions and ideals, right? Hey, but also hospitals, jails, scandals. Can we just say that word again? Scandals. Operations that are not expressively written, right? Here's our secret operations, water
Mhm.
and water resources, plots, frauds. Here we have some very yuckiness, right? And this is supposed to be the sign of like cooperation and peacetime. To me, it's like when I negotiate, I'm probably not going for a win-win situation. But I'm gonna make it look like it might be a win-win situation. It's not a win-win. It's I win-win. That was my initial thought of that. By the way, I'm just gonna go dark and have fun with it. So then we have okay, this is first of all, the fact that it's Scorpio South Node. And it's this like waste and taxes. And I have a whole scenario for us when we get to the full CIA chart. But looking at the moon is people. This is the nation's people. This is women. This is water, crops, land, nourishment, anything to like kind of take care of you. But it's what makes a country feel secure as well. Okay. And you have Jupiter right here, but it's in the sign of Scorpio, right? This like in Scorpio in mundane charts. I mean, this is called like taxes, right? So this is like, we're gonna, Jupiter makes everything bigger, right? So here we are. We're supposed to be like doing anything we can to make people feel secure, but are we? This feels yucky too. This is hard. I wish this wasn't like a happy sign, but mundane, meh. And then it trines up here. It trines over here. And let me just tell you what my first words that I wrote down right here was redacted. That's just my term for this. Because it trines the moon, and it's like, what's in our national interest? Trines are easy flows, but doesn't mean it's always flowing the good stuff. Could be flowing the bad stuff. And here you have Mercury, which is like communications, media, treaties, paperwork, right? I think about paperwork. But it's also lower education. So how do we indoctrinate people to make sure that I can control what you feel is your level of safety, right? I'm just gonna, just let your mind wander. It's fun. And then you have Venus. Venus, this peace and happiness. This is like the diplomats, okay? This is like our ambassadors and diplomats. Relationship practices, our national values, and our money, okay? It's also views on marriage, divorce, courting, and flirtation. How else can I really, work to control it? This is the honey pot. Let's just call it what it is. These are our honey pots. And I've got a nice trine here. Oh, yeah. Kind of feels a little could be used very grossly. Could have been gone the other way where we take so much effort to make sure no child left behind. Can I wink? No child left behind, Department of Education, but we're finding the results of that. Those organizations haven't necessarily lived up to the expectations of when they started. So then we go over here. Oh, once again. So we have Mars. This is your national energy, weapons, military leaders, doctors, enforcement again, epidemics, crimes of violence. This could be rioting, strikes, political tension. And it's in Gemini. It's communication. This is the use of mass media right here. And then you have literally Uranus, which is mass media, the grids, the technical grids, electricity, air travel, also
Mhm.
national groups. And since it's like right there with like the rioting, and we think about how we've gone into other countries and like kind of funded some national movements to help oust a leader. I mean, it's just right here in the chart. And you see how they're all these separate, they're not necessarily all talking to each other, but then again, we don't really write down what we do. We're kind of like quiet about it. Me, this too, this north node here. Money, money, money. I've got the resources. What did you think of this initial
Oh,
national security act?
I love this take on this, and my notes are very similar. Leo, the sun in Leo, this is very patriotic. It's very patriotic, so of course that's what we stand on here. I want to hop down to the South Node
Mm-hmm.
in Scorpio, and I think I want to believe this is the where we started. So when you look at the South Node conjunct the moon, the moon's instinct is to protect. It's to protect women and children, home and family, your clan, those kinds of things. And that's where it came from. This is what we were. This is what the whole premise is built on. This is your Venus and Mercury story because
Right.
it trines up there.
Homeland security, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, women and children first. Keep them
Right.
safe. This is the story, Mercury, that I'm going to tell you. That this is it. We are here to feed the children, take care of everybody this way. The Saturn, Pluto up there
Mm-hmm.
being unaspected, there's a lot of power in that conjunction there. There's so much power in that conjunction, and it wants to lead with we do the right thing at the right time,
Right.
whatever that is, whatever that is. Um, What else did I see? I like the Uranus Mars conjunction. It feels very G.I. Joe to me. It feels very G.I. Joe, with
Really?
Mars and Gemini. There's a lot of mental and
Like,
manual
man,
dexterity that goes on.
I
And
do
then
love that. Yeah.
right next to Uranus, brilliant. You send the Marines when we need help. You send them and they help you is what they do, right?
I love that it's almost a little like a sneak attack too.
It truly is. It truly is. The other thing that I like about the Saturn Pluto, it's like good versus evil.
Oh,
And we're
okay, yeah.
and we're, basically that's what we are. We're, now an international keeping tabs, doing the right thing when the right thing is called for, whatever that is. We stand on the good. We are, going against the evil, and there's a lot of respect and admiration in
Mm.
this, so I do feel like in 1947 this act happening, I want to say it came from it was sold as, we're the good guys, and we're going to make sure that the good guys are always doing what it
Guys
takes.
always win. Isn't that one of the phrases or something?
Pluto and Leo, a little bit of power, domination, you know.
Yeah. So what I want to do is we're going to put the National Security Act up with the USA chart. Okay. And then we'll do the CIA's chart and then the CIA with the USA chart. Wheel here is USA. We do have a good birth time for USA. This is USA's chart. And the outer wheel is this National Security Act. I'll just tell you the first thing I looked at. I was like, oof, in our house of like secret enemies. Like the waste is in the 12th house. And so, the 12th house is like the place of confinement, prisons, hospitals, secret societies, and the people that live and like work at these places. And when anything like transits it, right, that's when things become like unhidden. But I was just like, oh, of course, this like we're gonna have some secretness to it. What's really going on? Why did we really get started? I don't know. It's been redacted. I don't know. I found this very interesting with the USA chart because the president, right, has a lot of control over like calling forth and using
Mhm.
National Guard and things like that. I was like, oof, there's this like extra bit of power in the eighth house, which is it could be also things that have to do with like our financial relations with foreign countries, interest and taxes, but relevant to people who are feeling oppressed. Like that's also in the eighth house, which that doesn't really need to go into this conversation.
Mhm.
We also had this here too, right? So
Right.
here we have this conjunction here, right over our own Mercury, which is retrograde. So it does make me wonder at times, do they always know what's going on? Is the information fully shared between the two?
Got to
Who
keep some
knows?
cards close.
I also thought about how right now Uranus is like right here over this north node, and it made me think a lot about some of the blackouts that are happening around the country to like
Yeah.
preserve power, aviation issues with planes, national groups that appear to be very well funded on this Uranus on the north node right now, bringing this information to light.
The US moon
Of the
is
Aquarius.
squaring the south node. This type of interaction is a skip step somewhere in the past, right? An Aquarian moon is a little more detached.
Right.
So it's more of the needs of the many outweighing, so we're going bigger than our family and clan. Politics over nurture
Yeah. So
in
Aquarius
this
is
one.
social dynamics, scientists, tech, organization groups, and leaders.
Yeah.
I do think we've recently seen a very large, like it's been more about the leaders of groups and like they get this huge spotlight on them. And they're like, oh, they came out of nowhere. It was this person. And you're like, but what about the actual group?
Right.
Okay, what do you think about this Neptune here, right? Scandals in the 10th house.
Mhm,
By the way,
mhm.
I mean, I don't know why anyone wants to be president, mayor, or governor. It seems like you're just riddled with scandals.
Yeah.
But also like it's trying like the day to day. Like we have
Mhm,
to hear about this all the time.
mhm.
I just feel like I'm like, oh, no, 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 no.
I think it's in the handbook. Chapter 12.
Well, that's what makes me wonder, like this media thing.
Exactly.
It's like, how much can I distract you with just like
Mhm, mhm.
barrages of crap all the time?
Exactly. Well,
Amusing.
and it just desensitizes you after a while.
Yeah.
And we are now a social society of memes. So we'll
Yeah.
just make a meme out of it, move
Mhm.
on. No substance.
So America's Neptune is in Virgo, which is national healthcare, accountants, labor unions, and then like tradesmen, people coming out of like vocational schools, which I thought was very interesting to have Neptune of like scandals, deceptions, hospitals, and the idea of pandemics. Sextiles, right? You got to activate the sextile. So, oops, can we activate to use this to give you a sense of scarcity
Mhm.
using like this pandemic, this health issue as a means to kind of keep you in line.
Exactly.
Super fun. Let's go to the CIA chart. Dun, dun, dun. Here we have the first day the CIA is open. I don't have a birth time. I would really appreciate if going forward, anytime you signed a law or anything, that you would also timestamp it, not just sign your name. I need like an official timestamp, which would really
Mhm.
help us astrologers so much more to
I
let.
will write a letter.
Yeah, I mean, they probably don't want us to have that level of information. So, I mean, don't put it in my hands because here we go. So, one of the things you notice, this isn't much longer, right? There was July to September. So, moon still ends up in Scorpio. But we've had a little movement here because our Venus and Sun are now in Virgo, which Virgo was that national healthcare workers, accountants, and what I'm going to call service industry, like tradesmen and labor unions. But also, Virgo is this level of precision. And it made me think of when I was in college and you study accounting. Um, one of the classes I had is listening class because if you went into like auditing, you needed to like be able to pick when someone was lying and read them, and they would like video you and like watch. You'd have to watch your reactions, watch them. But the CIA heavily and the FBI heavily recruits accountants. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting because usually one of the first things you do is you start digging through the records, right? You literally start going through all the details. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, how appropriate to have that in Virgo. And then here we have Mercury and let me draw a little square. Mercury and Neptune together. I wrote, tell the people what you need them to hear. And then this is a really interesting sextile here because it's over here to our powerful peoples, right? Our vast wealth. This to me felt like kind of could be like back end payments or what are the like it's almost like the dash line tie to the criminal organizations. That's what it felt like to me. Like who really pulls the strings
Mhm.
kind of thing. It gets activated. Very yucky-ish. Okay, so this is also our Mars moved out of Gemini, went into Cancer, but it's 22 degrees, which do you want to tell people that's the kill or be killed degree? Die, do or die, right? So here we have this moon, the moon trying Mars here. There's this need for security, right? Like people need to feel secure, safe. And then from here we also have the moon squares our power buddies
Right.
over here. And I felt like it could be controlled by or used against you. Right? This is like the use of mob psychology. This is the use of messaging right here because it literally goes, okay, I need to feel really secure. This trying. okay, I can use the messaging around, you need to do this because then you will be safe.
Yeah,
Because then
I
you will
wrote
save your
down,
families.
yes, I wrote
Mhm.
down drastic solutions to problems.
Yes. So here we have here's Venus. Venus and the sun squares Uranus here, right? Here's your mass media. I literally wrote, don't F up the script. And it felt to me like media's loss of power, like journalism is dead. Don't F up the script. There's a script, you read it, play along.
Yeah, and shock and awe.
Also, this North Node trine the Sun and Venus, I just wrote, I have unlimited resources. And then the South Node sextiles here to the Sun and Venus. And to me, it was like forensic psychology, accounting, digging into your past, taxes. And then I put here, you have Jupiter, trines, Mars here. I can threaten your family. I can poison you and make it untraceable. I can create pandemics. I can destabilize you. I can control you through fear, safety, stability, taxes, loans, interest rates, because I control all the resources. So that's how I would take out everybody, clearly. So what do you think? I mean,
Oh, that's so
this is
funny.
a very, I'm sure we could read this in a very pretty way. I don't know. You want to try?
I
Save
don't
all
see
your
a
money?
lot of pretty. I mean, you go back to the when the act and where, this is the way we're going to present it, and then we have this, and I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. Not really. It feels very exaggerated importance. Like big swagger is what it does. And 1947. I mean, we're heading into the 50s. We are full of swagger. We're full of ourselves. I'm not saying that's unhealthy or healthy. We just are full of swagger
Yes.
here,
I
The
also,
Jupiter,
yeah,
go ahead.
I would say the money, I feel like the amount of money the military budget gets,
Yeah.
you know, how much of it is actually waste, how much of it is going towards this
Mhm.
versus here, right?
And then Jupiter conjunct the South Node, it does feel Jupiter is a star. So I am the star. I am charismatic. I am magnetic. People look up to me. You see where I'm getting the exaggeration.
Yes.
But also, if we look at the myth of Jupiter, he had lots of children with little nymphies, and his wife was a little upset with that. So there's a lot of less boundaries going on here. Yeah. And then it also trines, we talked about that, it trines Mars. And to me, that does feel like exaggerated importance. Easy wins.
Scorpio and Cancer, like
Mm,
just emotions and psychology,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
really using this and then using, you have Earth here,
Hmm.
and then here you've got the air signs here. I've got Neptune, Uranus and air signs. Let me
Hmm.
blur the lines. Let me maybe give you a little anxiety while I'm at it. Here's my
Exactly.
message for you.
I don't
Like,
know what
let
to
me,
believe.
right? Let me do it. Let me
Yeah.
like mess with your logic a little bit. Let me play around with it. I mean, great for
Yeah.
an advertising firm. If an advertising firm starts and they have these two together, amazing. Like
And
I would
then,
want that for an advertising
yeah.
firm.
And then you head into the atomic age, right? You're heading into the age of our parents under school desks are, and we
Yep.
are going to be attacked. We have to do all of these things. It was messaging.
Right. And all about the family, family, family.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
All right. Let's put CIA with the USA chart. On our inner wheel is the USA again. And on the outer wheel is the CIA. So once again, beautiful into our 12th house, stays there. Here we go. Mars is the big thing. So now we've got the Mars. Here we have, and then this shifted as well. Okay, we do have a trine here. We have this Pluto, right? Here's our established people, our politicians, our government, our big business. Trining, right? Flowing nicely with the resources, the funds, the North Node. And
Mhm.
here it is all the way up. I've got my hands in the pockets of the president. That's not a song, but we'll pretend, right? I've there is money and power, which makes me think back to who's pulling all the strings, right? But also the fact that this guy can be right here. I feel like, they're always like blackmail. They're using blackmail dirt. I think they've got so much. Just paperwork upon paperwork upon paperwork. Files upon files. We're using the USA chart. I can tell you that the seventh house here is foreign affairs, victims and events, which I was like, oh my gosh, the media.
Mhm.
Other, and I'm quote, other parties involved. Remember, we talked about like other organizations that could be funded, right? So here we are in our known enemies, like how we use our known enemies, how we use the media, how we use other groups.
Plus, they change all the time.
Yeah, it's important we move the chess pieces around very quickly.
Yeah.
The eighth house, financial relations with foreign countries, power struggles. And that just screams to me
Mhm. Mhm.
right here. The ninth house here, this is laws in the judicial system. The fact that the president's nominated the Supreme Court, that just feels like so right in here as well. But also places of recreation and large events.
Mm.
And the fact that that falls, the head of the CIA falls into this area kind of makes me a little uncomfortable. And it's intercepted, which tells me someone knows, but not all of us know. 10th house, people in power, right? This is our reputation, people in power. And I just felt like, I don't know why, I just wrote down this feels like a trickle down thing. Like, here's our law enforcement, but like we're giving you the messaging. That's what it felt like to me. 11th house is masses and groups and mob psychology. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, the peoples. Oh, the peoples. Um, I like this. This is our dirty little secret. Listen, note the enemy within, our dirty little secrets. I mean, 12th house is secret societies, occult hospitals, confinements. It's just a little idea of some of the houses. So we talked about in the last charts, this is the United USA people, but it's
Mhm.
squares, right? It squares the CIA nodes once again, right? And in the third house is communications. It's like we control what you hear and what you know and the information you can get, whether it's real or not, redacted or not, like we control it all. We control it.
Right.
The fact that we also this Neptune perfectly trines that Uranus. Oof. And then the fact that
Mhm.
this is very much um, healthcare related as well. I just feel like in the psychology here, it's like I know the buttons to press to trigger you to give you anxiety, to keep you up at night, to kind of blur the lines of like what's truth and what's not truth. What do you say? What's the saying for this one? You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going to hear the truth. I'm
No,
never ever going to get the actual truth.
no. And then Uranus and Gemini, this is what we're going to be experiencing again, full on. And things change so quickly. It's lightning. It's just so interesting, you know, or that Uranus is trining up there.
Right? Because Uranus, it's gonna hit here first
Yeah,
as it travels
yeah,
up. And then we have Jupiter, right? Jupiter has been backtracking over this, right? Finally, files were released, right? But not all the files, because here you have, we're gonna redact, because we're gonna protect some people,
yeah. But
right?
think
And
about we're heading into a time period with when the CIA went effective to televisions. We had televised news.
yeah.
We watched the moon. We watched a
Mhm.
Vietnam War. We watched all of this. We were being shown images that we've never seen before, which
They true?
activated our third house moon.
Was it true? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Our neighborhood just really it got bigger. We are not insular any longer. We are bigger than this. And here we are again,
Hmm.
Uranus and in Gemini. And I really think the way that we are going to be responding to what we're being told, we hopefully will be a little more cautious with that. Or what's going to change? How are they going to grab that lightning and change it?
Well, they control the power grid, so they're gonna turn it off.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah.
I mean, when you control the grid, control it all. It is really interesting when you like really kind of play with the chart in what we
Hmm.
call speculative astrology.
Yeah.
When we create a story of how they will do the things. I think you find a lot of it though. You're seeing so much coming out and being uncovered now. So maybe that's part of this, here's releasing of some files. If we printed off our text messages, it'd be like 97 books long,
Oh, it
right?
would. It would
Right. So just imagine the amount of crap they have to like
sift
this,
through.
yeah, which would be
Right.
this Virgo up here, right? Just so much information. I mean, they flagged my email to you. It's
It
literally
doesn't matter. It was
charts.pdf. Not good, guys. Don't label like that. They speak. I've never seen such a big red box.
I know. I had this on the picture.
When there's a new conspiracy theory that comes up, you can pull the CIA chart and be like, oh, is this one of their tactics? Maybe.
Right.
Which is funny because I think it was supposed to be more foreign intelligence, but it's definitely because we're such a melting pot now. Do we even use that word anymore? It's kind of on domestic land now.
Right.
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 It was originally around the time of like Russia. We were very worried that Russia was gonna
Right.
get too big. And that's part of the whole reason they made this National Security Defense Act. We just recently blamed Russia for things. Russia's like, dude,
I'm right here. I can hear you.
on his little can with the string.
Yes, exactly.
You blame me for it again? Oh, it's so true. Well, we hope you enjoyed a nice start to the 2026 where all will be revealed, right? The
Yes.
veil is thin. The veil is thin. All will be revealed.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. We have some great 2026 ideas. There's charts you'd like us to do, put it in. We
Yes,
had some
please.
requests. So starting to compile some ideas here. To me, I always like to find a thread between multiple things. So here we go. All right. Like and subscribe. Schedule readings 2026. Let's go.